In this film, we will talk about the important things to consider when you build a sauna. The first question is where to place the sauna within the house. All of the energy consumed by your sauna unit benefits your house. This means that the house's thermostatically controlled heating radiators get a break, which saves energy. The easiest solution is to place the sauna in a corner against external walls. The house will thus gain additional insulation, and you won't need to cover two of the sauna's outer walls. The floor in the sauna must be non-slip and capable of withstanding the moisture that can occur during bathing. A small tip when it comes to bathing is to consider the fact that all of the water you throw on the stones must evaporate. When pouring water on the stones, it is important to use a ladle, around 2 to 3 ladles at a time. The circulation of air around the sauna's door must work with the hot air from the sauna unit, which is why we recommend that the unit be placed on the same wall as the door. If this is not possible, place the unit as close to the door as possible. It is important that you follow the instructions that come with your particular sauna unit regarding specified minimum distances to materials that must not be exceeded. As regards ventilation, it is important to think about the principle of self-draft. This means that the supply air enters directly under the sauna unit. The exhaust air must be located as far from the unit and supply air as possible and as high up in the room as possible. The exhaust air must go out into the same area as the supply air is taken from, so as to maintain the same air pressure in the room. The sauna's ventilation has a major impact on the function of the sauna unit, and incorrect ventilation can, for example, trip the unit's overheating precautions. The size of the supply and exhaust air valves must be at least 125 square centimeters for units up to 10 kilowatts and 300 square centimeters for units between 16 and 20 kilowatts. The exhaust and supply air valves must always be the same size. If you feed the air outside, it can create problems with the sauna's ventilation. The airflow can go in the wrong direction if, for example, the wind blows against the vent on the facade. The pressure difference between indoors and outdoors can also affect the ventilation, so no ventilation out into the open air. We advise against having a mechanical exhaust in the sauna. This can make it difficult to adjust the airflows. If there is no possibility of placing the exhaust air correctly, you can solve this with an internal channel in the sauna that you build in, or you can place a duct in the gap between the sauna's outer ceiling and the room's inner ceiling. It is important that the dimensions of the supply and exhaust air valves are the same, and that the exhaust air exits into the same room from which the supply air is taken. We shall now address the sauna walls. Normally, we recommend not using aluminum or plastic foil as a moisture barrier in the sauna's walls or ceiling. But if you're going to throw a lot of water on the walls and ceiling, it might be good to have a moisture barrier behind the inner panel, although not if the sauna's walls were built against an already moisture-resistant wall. When you build a normal sauna wall against an interior or freestanding wall, you must build it with a minimum of 45mm studs and 45mm mineral wool or fiberglass insulation, wood paneling on the inside and the outside, covered with wood paneling or masonite. No air gap is required, nor plaster, chipboard, or oriented strand board behind the wooden panel. And be careful when you install the insulation. When you build a sauna wall against an exterior wall, start with a rule of 20mm for an air gap against the wall, then a rule of 45mm for mineral wool or fiberglass insulation. To keep the insulation in place and not close the air gap, you can install steel wire crosses or use masonite board. If the inside is covered with a material other than wooden panels, for example, tiles, stone, or glass, you must take that into account when choosing a sauna unit. The rule of thumb is that for every square meter covered with tiles or glass, the volume of the sauna must be increased by 1 cubic meter when choosing a unit. In the case of other solid materials, the volume of the sauna must be increased by 2 cubic meters for every square meter of solid material you have in the sauna. The ceiling height in the sauna should not exceed 2,400 millimeters, as it may be difficult to raise the temperature in the lower part of the sauna. The ceiling height also affects the volume of the sauna. A good rule of thumb is to keep the ceiling height at approximately 1,100 to 1,300 millimeters above the topmost level. I hope you find this a good introduction to your sauna construction. If you have questions or concerns, you can contact one of our retailers and they will help you with all questions regarding your sauna construction. Good luck!